Señoras y señores, mi nombre es Jan y este es el HPI Apache C1 Es muy hermosa, ¿no? Okay, first let me get some of this little stuff out of the way. I give you a big old bag of tools and some extra parts. There's some extra servo arms in there and shock pistons, extra pistons, some spacers, wrenches, the main big wrench. They do give you AA batteries for the radio, and the controller here is a 2.4 gigahertz system, and it has trims and endpoints, analog endpoints, and dual rate. So all the stuff that all the major stuff that you need, and reversing, of course. So that's a good thing. And it is a 3-channel unit with a toggle here, so maybe you could use that for something else later on. But also feels pretty decent in the hand, and has a drop-down steering wheel, so it's supposed to give you good ergonomics. Okay, all that stuff out of the way. There's a decal sheet and manual and warranty and stuff, but who cares about that? Here's the car. Something that I've been looking forward to. Well, this video right here is being done in March of 2012. I ordered this in November of 2011, so I've been looking forward to this for quite a long time. This is truly a 1/8 scale buggy. And let me clarify that. If you actually look up the stats for full-scale Class 1 desert buggies, C1 stands for Class 1, you will find, and then compare the wheelbase on this to the wheelbase on those, it is right within the range of actually 1/8 the size. However, compared to what we in the RC world normally call 1/8 scale, this is much larger. This is almost 2 inches longer in wheelbase than the HPI Vorza. It's got the Truggy chassis in it. So this is a very big thing, much larger than the typical current accepted size for a what we call a racing, 1/8 scale buggy. Lots and lots of detail added onto this, important things, not fine detail, but big things like this whole interior piece and this roll cage. It's got roll cage. It has is this metal? Probably not. It feels like plastic. The roof, that's fine. But you've got an actual spare tire here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is an actual usable tire. I don't know about the wheel isn't, but the tire is the same thing. You've got these licensed scale tires, Yokohama licensed tires on it. The roll cage extends back here. You've got extra overhang in the back. It's really just trying to look like a real Class 1 buggy, unlike our modern racing buggies that we use in the RC world. You've got a little bit of a bumper up here, a little bit of skid plate. You've got some fake lights, and it looks like there's holes in the back here, so you could take off these. Wait, nope, these are see-through. Those are actually semi-clear, so you could actually hook up actual LED lights to that. It looks like you'd need to glue them to the back, but they will work, they will fit in there. So just an awesome looking thing, Just turn it around, take a look at the other side. You can see that this driver figure actually has a steering wheel in there, and there's a little bit of detail both on the wheel and also on the dash behind there. So nice, really nice presentation, great looking thing. Let's see. That feels pretty good right there. It's stiffer than I expected it to be. This back here, also a little bit stiffer than I expected, but this should ride pretty nicely. It feels like a decent setup out of the box. Let me go ahead and take off the body, and I'll show you how you take off the body, because that's kind of an important thing. I'll start from the back in this case, because these are the easier ones, the small little body clips. There's 2 on the top, and then there should be 1 on each side, 1 large one holding the sides down in place. Just got to push this one up. There's also going to be 1 up front. So there, and here. It's a large clip. Oh boy, that just took a trip. It's somewhere else, and oh, found it. Okay, and then the last one is over on this side, right here. And from my understanding, that should be all that it takes. Pull this out, and lift all this up. Survey says yes. Look at that. So what I just did was I just removed, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3. 3 large body clips and 2 small ones. 5 body clips took off this entire superstructure here. That is awesome. I am very, very super happy about that. Got a little bit of guarding up here to help prevent sending some of the rocks and dirt into the inner chassis. The interior piece actually extends. It includes this whole kind of strengthening section, like a subframe inside of it, it's made of a nylon blend that's actually molded plastic there, and that continues on. It's assembled all the way back to here with these rear little deflectors here. It goes all the way back to the back, and then this top piece right here, this is either Lexan or PVC. I'm not sure which, but that's a separate plate or molded piece that came from just a plate, and then you've got a bunch of extra pieces added on of formed Lexan around here, and this is actually formed around quite a bend they did there, and it's nice thick stuff too. This is very thick. I'd say it's probably 0.06 Lexan. Yeah, that's nice and durable feeling, and the cage itself feels pretty strong too. So good stuff going on with the cage, especially with the ability to take it off so easily. Now, when you look underneath of all that, what you'll find is a pretty traditional style of chassis, a traditional 1/8 scale buggy chassis. Although, like I said, it's a longer one. It's a truggy length of chassis, but very straightforward, very simple, and easy to access most things. Motor, battery on the opposite side. Receiver box, servo here. I'll need to look up the stats on that servo. SF50WP, a waterproof servo, and a waterproof receiver box here. The ESC, which you'll see in a second, is not waterproof to my understanding, but a couple of the things are. The ESC is a little bit out of the way. A couple things that do stand out different from your typical 1/8 scale buggy is, first of all, your arms here. The arms, and I'll turn it upside down, you can see that they're completely covered up. They're just flat on both of the top and the bottom. They're like this, and that is partially for scale purposes, because they actually do that on the real ones, and partially just to get the same benefits that the full-scale buggies do of not trapping stuff in there. And also, if you hit a rock, there's less chance of the rock catching. You know, if you come down off a jump and a rock is right there, it's not going to catch. So this whole arm, the entire arm, works as its own skid plate, and they've got that going on for all 4 of them. And then the chassis is just one big flat aluminum piece, completely flat with mostly countersunk screws or inset screws. Appears to be a 4mm chassis, so very thick. It is not bent up on the sides, but it does have a little bit of a ridging made of plastic going around on the sides, but very heavy it is, and very beefy. Good stuff there. It does have threaded body shocks all the way around. They are plastic bodied, but they are big bores basically. You can consider that to be a big bore. And threaded bodies allows you to adjust your preload and your ride height, and that can come in handy for different driving situations, and also depending upon what you do for batteries. And I'll show you the battery tray a little bit later on. But your shock towers here, these are aluminum, and looks like 4mm to me. Single stamped aluminum piece. Nice little color contrast going on there. They've got a similar thing going for the drag link here. Also aluminum hinge pin holders, both the rears and the fronts. at both the front axle and the rear axle, holding the diff in, holding your suspension pins in. Those are aluminum, so that's good. Looks like you've got 3 different holes that you can use up top for mounting your shock here. Down at the bottom there are only 2. These look to be captured pins. Just a little capturing screw that comes in from the top and uses normal caster blocks up front, so those should be able to hold your caster well, as opposed to like pillow balls that tend to be a little bit on the flimsy side. However, this is a bad thing. The links are plastic and non-adjustable. Camber links, front toe links, those are just not adjustable. So if you want to change those settings, you will need to upgrade to actual turnbuckles, and I'm sure they'll have a whole set available for that if they don't already have them for the vehicle this is based on. It's based on the Vorza, which is in turn based on the D8 buggy. The suspension geometry comes off of the early version of the D8. What else do we have going on here? Plastic, unfortunately, plastic chassis braces, so that's kind of does have adjustable servo saver. This is interesting. The servo saver has a little boot around the top of it. I guess that's to help keep mud and grime from getting in there. Interesting. I have not personally seen that before. That doesn't mean it's new, but I personally haven't seen it. And coming around to the back, the ESC is actually under here. And if you just pull up the tire a little bit, you can see it right there. It's the Castle-made, kind of the Mamba Max Pro equivalent of ESC, just sitting up there, which is plenty for most 8th scale buggy applications. And unfortunately, this one does look like it kind of got tossed around in shipping a little bit, and it has broken free partially from its double-sided tape underneath of it. So that's something that I will need to fix. I'll take this spare tire off and get into that. Speaking of the tires are proprietary. They are using an 8th scale style of bead, but they're actually more of the short course style of overall design and tread, where you've got a high profile outside and then it's a short profile on the inside. Here you can see on the inside it's nice and short, like a traditional 8th scale buggy wheel. So you can replace these with just standard 8th scale buggy wheels all the way around. They'll be about the same diameter. They'll fit directly on. It has the 17mm hubs all the way around. So it's easy to get upgrades for this. It's for your, to get something that's ideal for your driving surface. The motor that's in here is, I believe it is made by Castle also. And this is the 2350 kV unit, sensorless, and it's running Mod 1 gearing on there, of course. You've got a little clamp down style of motor mount, and you can adjust your mesh under here with these 2 screws by just loosening them up. It's going to move the entire cradle. This whole mount allows you to slide it in and out. And you can optionally add on to this little heatsink piece up here. It's got holes pre-drilled where you can add on your own fan. So if you want to get a little extra cooling out of that. Of course, it's always best to just gear properly for your running conditions, but if you're in especially hot temperature conditions, it can help sometimes to add on a fan just to help fight against the uphill battle of temperatures. 3 gear diffs, sealed silicone, standard 1/8 scale buggy stuff. So that's fully adjustable. Looks like you can get your center diff out by removing 4 screws here. I'm not seeing any complications to that. So that's golden. That's great. Very straightforward. Now the battery tray. I mentioned the battery tray. This is designed to hold 2 2S batteries on their sides. So instead of putting it down flat, you'd put it like this, one here and one here facing away. You can see there are these extra little loops to the side to allow your terminals to stick out a little bit, or if you've got your wires coming out on one corner, they gave you a little bit of room to bend the wire around. I appreciate that very much, as oftentimes companies don't think about that, the different standard common styles of LiPo batteries that are out there, HPI did. And they give you just Velcro straps to hold them down. So if you have different heights of batteries, you can fit them in there. You can also change the positions of these to move them in and out a little bit. Looks like there's some room to slide them, so you can actually make it a little bit longer. You can also make it a little bit shorter. And I even see, it looks like, are there extra? Not sure if that's actually gonna work out. I was trying to see if there was an additional. Now there is. There's an additional position where you can actually narrow it up even further. So you can run some really short packs on that. That's kind of interesting. This will also fit a single 4S battery pack. I believe you have to put it on its side, but they do not mention using anything above 4S LiPo. You can put in the equivalent in nickel metals, but it doesn't mention anything above 4S, so that looks to be the top that you'll go for that. Let me go ahead and put the roll cage back on. It's such a beautiful thing, you know? Always appreciate being able to have scale looks in anything RC related, and there's absolutely no exception here. HPI has definitely done a good job of making something that, you know, you can probably take some good video of it and pass it off as real. Yes, sir. HPI Apache C1 Flux comes fully ready to run, 2.4 gigahertz, brushless, ready for LiPo, up to 4S. It's bigger, much bigger than a 1/8 scale buggy, especially when you consider not only the wheelbase but also the extra overhang, the extra height. Really good looking thing. I'm really looking forward to driving this thing and seeing if it holds up as well as it looks like it could, based on just the pedigree and the design of the parts and the size of them and all. So thank you very much for watching with this. I'm very excited for this and looking forward to doing some raw driving videos and moving on to the review later on down the line. I'll talk to you again soon. Go!